Hi everyone. Happy Sunday afternoon. We've just arrived from back in Dallas from Minnesota, and we've gone from minus 11 to 9, minus 11 degrees Celsius to 9 degrees Celsius, and it is so much warmer here, but I love the cold. Anyway, I hope you're all having a great time wherever you are, and I'm so excited that you've joined me. This 21-day brain detox is one of my most amazing things that I do myself. I've been doing this for 30 years, and it's one of the most amazing things I believe that I have done in my research. It's something that I have done with so many thousands of people. In fact, we have close to 1 million people around the globe using this 21-day detox concept. And live at the moment with us doing this challenge are thousands of you, all jumping in together and helping each other go through this 21-day brain detox. So it's really nice to know that there's a community, that you're not alone out there, because it's really hard to go through, it's really hard to get inside your head and deal with what's going on inside your head, because that's really what my 21-day detox is going to teach you to do. It's going to teach you the basic principles of mind management. I teach mind management. That's the big thing that I teach. And the 21-day brain detox is going to teach you how to manage your mind in terms of the chronic stresses, those things that happen, just managing the day-to-day life, those acute stresses, which are those things that happen that can blindside you, that you don't expect, those unexpected things, the non-conscious drivers, which are those traumas and things that have happened in the past that we haven't dealt with and that we need to deal with. It also helps you with your identity, which is massive in terms of lifestyle. Also, the 21-day detox can be used to help with your diet and your exercise, your sleep. So the 21-day detox gives you the mind management needed for lifestyle. And it's so important that we deal with our lifestyle, because the research is showing very conclusively that people are dying younger from preventable lifestyle diseases. So, for the first time in decades, the trend of people living longer has been reversed, and that people are dying 15 to 25 years younger. And if you track the research back to why this is happening, it boils down to people not managing their lifestyles. People are dying from preventable lifestyle diseases. So we have to look at how do we manage our lifestyles to stop this happening. So this 21-day detox helps you manage your lifestyle. And as I've already said, lifestyle is how you manage the day-to-day stuff, how you manage the acute things that just happen that you don't expect, how you deal with the traumas of the past that are also holding you back or blocking your relationships, or how you moving forward in your life, and also helps you deal with your identity, which is so attacked these days through social media and through the whole extrinsic happiness industry telling us we should be like this or be like that, when we need to actually be like ourselves. Things like our diet, exercise, sleep, all these things are lifestyle. And the 21-day detox will help you manage those. So as you work through this challenge with me, I am really encouraging you to see this challenge as the catalyst, the start point for the rest of your life. I've been doing this 21-day detox for 30 years. I developed it over 30 years ago. 32 years ago is when I started working on this research. I started studying the science of the mind and the science of how thoughts form, which is the science of how memory forms. And I worked in clinical practice for 25 years. And with every single patient that I worked with, I would put them into a 21-day detox. And we would use these principles to work through whatever issues they had, trauma-wise, emotionally, any of those lifestyle factors, and including learning, building your brain, all kinds of things. So this is not something you just do for 21 days. This is a lifetime. And that's why we've made this a subscription base. So you can download the app for free and you can get access to the resources for free. And by resources, I mean my podcasts, which I highly recommend you listen to. I give you great scientific tips and techniques to manage your mental health. But then if you want to actually do the 21-day detox, you need to pay the subscription fee, and that is $69. Now, you may think that's $69.99. You may think that that's a lot of money to pay, but it's not a lot of money to pay. It's very little considering what you're getting. You're getting a whole year subscription to this program. And this program is based on years of scientific research. I have spent 32 years of clinical research and clinical application, developing, refining, adding to developing this concept. So I've taken my knowledge, my experience, my scientific research, and even my current scientific research that I'm doing, my clinical trials that I'm doing, and I'm adding that into and constantly improving this app. The app technology allows me to be able to make changes and adjustments to the program as I discover new information or find better ways of presenting it. So you're constantly getting access to updated, latest scientific information on how you can learn to manage your mind, to manage your lifestyle, to improve your mental state, to improve the quality of your lifestyle and your peace and happiness and your success. So it's really not expensive. If you go for individual therapy, counseling, not only do you have to wait and drive somewhere and wait in a waiting room and whatever, you can pay anything between $150 to $500 an hour. This is $69 for the whole year. Not only am I walking you through the 21 days in the subscription, but I also show you how to continue onto the additional 42 days, because to change a habit, you need to do it for 60, each cycle needs to be repeated. You need to basically deal with each thought over 63 days. So I explain how to go from the 21 days to the 63 days. I also have, it's audio driven. So I walk you through it as I'm giving you therapy. I walk you through it step by step. I have built in so many great techniques as well to help you with each of these concepts. And also, not only that, is we're also building in mini audio guides. Like we've just added on one that's coming very soon on how to manage panic attacks. Eventually, we'll have all kinds of things in the app, helping you, to help your teenagers, to help your young children, to help you with, if you're a sports person, if you're in corporate life, if you an endless number of applications we're going to be building into the app. So if you keep on renewing every year as well, you're going to get access to all this new, latest scientific, clinically researched information to help you learn mind management. Let's face it, if your mind is not managed, if your mind is a mess, the rest of your life is a mess. You can get all the self-help books you want, listen to all the podcasts you want, go to all the church sermons and conferences you want. But if you don't understand how to take that information, process it, and apply it to your life, it just becomes information. I am teaching you how to take information and make it part of your lifestyle. So you've got to continue doing this. So during the course of this whole year, we're not only going to do this one challenge, we're going to do multiple different ways to help you build a strong lifestyle of mind management. So I encourage you, if you're only just seeing this for the first time, you can still join. Doesn't matter. Start at day one and just continue. Just jump on board, join the Facebook Live group, which is free. Every day, if you subscribe as well, you'll get emails every day. And those emails are from me. I write them. They're not written by my team. They're written by me. I tell you what we're doing that day, and I tell you what I'm working through. So I give you my experience for the day to help you as an example. So we're working on this. This is the year for the 20, getting people into the 21-day brain detox. And the app, by the way, for those of you that have just joined, is called the Switch app. And you can download it at Google and at iTunes, and it's really fantastic. I'm so excited about it, constantly getting upgraded and improved. Okay, so we had quite a few questions, and I see there's quite a few questions popping up, but I'm going to take the questions first that were sent through, and then we will I'll try and answer some of the questions that are popping up at the moment. Okay, so essentially, just quickly so that you know what to do, you're going to download the app, you're going to pay for the subscription, you're going to follow the instructions directly on your phone. It's audio driven. Every day you do the 5 steps. It's 5 steps that you do over around about between 15 to 30 minutes each day. You just follow my instructions. You're going to need a journal to write in, or you can type into your computer, but you are going to be writing, and you need to keep a record of that writing. So don't do it on bits of paper that you throw away. I recommend a journal, or type it into your computer or on your phone, whichever suits you. And you join the Facebook Live the Facebook group for free. You'll get emails from me every day where it'll just give you some encouragement and guidelines for what you're working on that particular day and for the process. So it's 5 steps that you're working through over 30 minutes or so. Okay, so let's look at the first question. We've had a question again. We had this last week as well. How is it different to my 21-day online program? So this that we're doing now, this challenge, we're using the Switch app, which is on your mobile phone. It's the mobile app, and it is basically audio driven with videos and a lot more information with all those extra guides. The 21-day online program is like a little course. It's not audio. There are videos in it, but they're basic little videos about what happens on each day. But it's basically a little course, and each day there's like little written steps that you follow. So there's not a huge amount of information. Also good, we've got thousands of people doing that, but that eventually is going to be phased out, and it will be replaced completely by the Switch app, which is so much more advanced, so much more information, so much clearer. I'm also bringing in all the great techniques that I've been teaching and doing research on over the years, like the discomfort zones and how to deal with uncertainty, and great techniques like the multiple perspective advantage. So there's a lot of extra stuff, loads. It's like, honestly, the 21-day detox online, if you had to compare to the Switch app, this is like that on steroids. It's got so much more help. And we'll be doing, as I said, all kinds of Facebook Live and YouTube and things like that to help you. Okay, so how, okay, I've got so many questions here. If only starting today, don't worry. You can just jump in. Even if today is already day 12, it's no problem. You can start at day 1. You can still follow through on the program. This video will help guide you. Doesn't matter where you start. I also would suggest that you get in a group, get 2 or 3 people or one other person or 10 other people also downloading the app and doing it with you. And then you can share your experiences with each other. Community is vital for your healing. We can't do this alone. We need to work in community. So when you're working, you've got to do your own stuff, but it's so good that you have got accountability partners, and you can share and say, I did this today, and today I felt this, and whatever. And it just encourages each other, and you give each other great ideas. Okay, so this is a really good question. If a day was supposed to be motivating, but that wasn't, is that okay? What does that mean? So there are some days, like there's some days where I'll say that this is a motivation day because you've done so well, you've been going for a week or whatever. And then if you feel that you're not motivated, that is okay, because you know what? You're doing a lot of hard work. You are introspecting. A lot of people are doing a deep thinking, standing back and observing your own thinking type action that you've never done before. So it can be quite a shock when you start seeing what's inside your head. This is teaching you to slow down long enough to be able to observe your own way that you're thinking and how you're responding to people and how you're responding to life. It makes you see things that you maybe have pushed aside, that you squashed aside, and pushed aside or squashed down. And it can be quite demanding. You might see things that make you feel unmotivated, but in the pain of being unmotivated, you're still learning. So don't worry if you don't feel motivated. It's okay. Just keep going, because you will feel that another day will come along where you'll feel a little more motivated. Don't always worry about trying to get the extrinsic. Be happy and be comfortable. Learn to be happy and comfortable in maybe not being motivated, in maybe not being excited and happy today, in maybe being sad today. And you'd see all throughout, I'm teaching you to embrace your emotions, get them out. Don't pretend they don't exist. So however you're feeling that day, within the 5 steps, you've got your opportunity. Write it down. So I really feel unmotivated today. I really feel sad and frustrated, and I'm seeing this and I'm seeing that. Get it out, because if you don't get it out, it goes into your body. And when it goes into your body, it's going to damage your body, because your brain and your body are not wired for toxicity. So crying, talking, expressing, externalizing, and then going is so important. And you do that in these 5 steps, as you gather, as you reflect, as you write it down, as you recheck. But because it's such an organized structure, the gathering of the information, then the reflecting where you ask the why questions and you answer and discuss, and then you write that down, and then you check what you've written, and then you start working on an active reach that comes out of what you've written, and you do a little bit each day because it's cumulative. It's a really organized, scientific, neurophysiological, neuroplastic, directed neuroplasticity process. You're changing your brain. You're following those 5 steps, are following how your brain builds memory. So you are you're doing what your brain is doing in response to your mind as you're building memory. You are activating certain areas of the brain. You are doing this sequence that your brain likes to follow. So it's a way of you directing what you grow in your brain and what you wire out of your brain. So the whole process is very giving you a lot of control back. But it does wake up stuff. You are going to wake up memories that you've pushed down. You are going to see things that maybe you didn't see before. You might be quite shocked by what you see, and that's okay. That's why you can't just do this once. That's why you need to keep doing this. That's why you also need to make sure that you've got someone that you can talk to, because some days will be really hard and you'll feel like, wow, I didn't know I had this going on in my head. And you just need to go and maybe stop right there and go talk to a loved one and share with them how you feel, and make sure that you talk to someone that you trust. Get someone in your life, or a couple of people in your life, that you can really trust. That's why I love to do the accountability groups or get an accountability partner. So there was also hang on, I want to just find here, there were so many great questions here. How do you use this program to deal, this is a good one, to deal with addiction? Okay, so that's a really big question, and one that we're going to address in a lot of podcasts and things coming up as well. But essentially, addiction means consumed by, and addiction is not a bad word. We're designed to be consumed by love. We're wired for love. So we're actually designed to be consumed by love. We're designed to be drawn to things that are positive. So if we're not getting that in our relationships and in our life, in other words, if we've gone through trauma, or the day-to-day stresses are just too much, or we're getting hit by these acute things happening, or our identity is being challenged, or our diet's bad, we're not sleeping well, all these can accumulate to affect how you're feeling about yourself. And if we don't face what we're feeling, we can fall into a toxic addiction. So an addiction then becomes doing something to kind of suppress and cover what we don't feel comfortable with. So maybe that trauma that's happened and you haven't dealt with it, and it's affected your ability. You don't feel comfortable socializing or something, so you feel like you need to take a substance to help you socialize, and you find that you're doing it all the time, so you get addicted to that. But it's now become a toxic addiction. It's swapped, so you're getting consumed by doing something that numbs you facing the issue. So the 21-day detox over the 63 days, over the 3 cycles, is so important when it comes to such an amazing tool for handling addiction, because you, through the gather, start becoming more aware. You start looking at yourself, looking at what you're thinking. So you start saying, okay, well, I've got this emotional warning signal and this physical warning signal, and it is an addiction to maybe porn, or to alcohol, or to drugs, or to medication, or to maybe it could be just a habit that you're using, like a way, like if there's something that a toxic habit addiction could be something like every time you're supposed to, you feel like you got to deal with something, instead of dealing with it, you just quickly change direction and you distract yourself with something else. So you never really deal with it. So you get into you get addicted to distraction. I don't know if anyone of you've done that before, but that's kind of quite a common addiction that people don't always realize is an addiction. Whatever it is, if you are doing something that feels like it's addictive, like if you keep doing it over and over again, it's hiding something. You're doing it to hide something. So the 21-day detox helps you to gather awareness of what you're doing. And then as you work through the reflection and the right and the recheck and the active reach, you start digging down and finding out why, what is the addiction, what is the cause of the addiction, how do you get to the root of the addiction. So if it's a distraction thing, let's say that you're addicted to distraction. So you find that as soon as something gets too painful to face, you go and keep yourself busy, you go and do some exercise, or you go and watch a movie, or you go and you just change the subject, or you get busy with work, you do anything not to face the issue. So your body's now suffering because you can't keep that toxic issue. You find that you're getting very anxious because the more you keep something undealt with, it doesn't go away, it just gets worse. So then your addiction kind of increases, and eventually it reaches this threshold where you just know something is wrong. So you gather awareness of, okay, I'm getting really anxious all the time. And then you start digging, why am I anxious? And you say, oh, actually, there's stuff I'm not facing. And then you start writing down, and you check, and then comes to the next day. and day 3, day 4, day 5, and eventually you see, oh, okay, I'm addicted to my distraction is my addiction technique that I'm using to stop dealing with the painful issue of an unforgiveness that I have, which is some sort of unconscious driver, which is some kind of trauma that you've gone through. And it might take you 15 days or 16 days or maybe multiple cycles of 21 days to really get to the root cause of that addiction. And in that process of the painful thing that you want to distract yourself with, and the addiction, the addiction is the distraction. It might take you time. Don't put pressure on yourself. You're going through 21 days, you're doing bit by bit. At the end of 21 days, you've broken down a thought, you've built up a new one, a new replacement thought, you remember how you were, but that may only be part of it. You may have, it's only part of that addiction. It may be the first step. You might have to go a little deeper next time, and a little deeper next time, and a little deeper next time. So it's a constant, ongoing process. Okay, so how do I deal with this program with children? We get that often. We are making a program for children, but in the meantime, there will be in the app. We will have an add-on for how to use this with children, but in the meantime, you've got to encourage your children to get things out. So you can maybe draw a little picture of the brain or find a picture of the brain and just say that this is the place where the little memories are stored, and that if someone's, you could take a book and read them a story about someone who's bullying someone or hurt, or if you suspect something is going on, depending on the age of the child, you can use things like books or stories to try and see if you can stimulate what is going on in the child's brain, or just play with them. Just sit and play with them, and as they're playing, see what they're doing, because they will act out. The younger they are, the more they will actually act out physically what they're going through. And then obviously the younger the child, the less words they have to express themselves. So therefore you help them express themselves. So you could say, you sad, or you happy, or you angry. And I would do this on the floor, and would do this with books and with toys and with things like Lego, so that they can use physical things to actually build the story. And you can, and to start telling you what's going on. So what works really well is you and your child can sit in the middle on the floor, and then you can actually arrange like a sequence around you, so you've got bubbles around you, so you can have like spokes of a wheel. That's a better explanation. So if you start seeing that they start, maybe someone's hitting someone, they pick up 2 dolls and they start hitting each other. So you put those 2 dolls like at point, like take the clock and at point at like number, just after 12, number 1, okay, and then you would say to them, so our 2 children, who's fighting, and then try and get more information there, and then maybe some more information comes out, and then you could go to another point, and maybe you could get some other toys, some blocks or something, or as they give you more information, try to help them express it as a sequential thing in a circle. And then they could move through the different parts of the circle to try and process and understand it. If they're older, like sort of 9, 10, 11, 12, you can do this verbally. The best way is to sit with a child, tune into them, go for a walk with them, play with them, watch some TV with them. So connect with them first. They're not just going to open up to you. And then as they connect, encourage them to talk, and just say that, when I feel sad, I need to if something's worrying me, I'm going to talk about it. You want to tell me, if you get it out, it's not stuck in your brain. Maybe show them a picture of the brain, encourage them to get it out, and to help them to express it as best they can. Write it down, like in the 3rd step, and then look at what they've written, and also go through it and go through it over a period of time. Explain to them it's not going to all happen immediately. It's going to take time to fix this thing. So it's not going to get fixed straight away. Get them out of the quick fix mentality. Get them into the mentality of, I've got a problem, I'm going to talk. Create a safe enough space where you don't judge. Very important, when your child tells you something, you may not think it's scary. You may not think it's important. Like, don't ever say things to them like, and that don't invalidate the experience. Even if you think that it's not important or that they shouldn't be scared, never say, oh, you shouldn't be scared of that. That's not a problem. For them, it is a problem. For them, it is personal. So you tune in and say, wow, I can understand that must be very hard. Let me help you with that. So always validate their experience. Don't judge their experience. If they feel judged, and if they don't feel valued, and if they don't feel understood, they will pull away. Same thing goes for teenagers. Same thing goes for adults. We don't want to be judged. We want to be understood. We're desperate for kindness and understanding. You need it. I need it. Your kids need it. Okay. So let me have a look now at some of these questions. Okay, very quickly, there was another question on my list, and that was that whatever takes you longer than the 30 minutes. Now, once you get into this, it'll take you around about 15, maximum 30 minutes. And I don't want you to spend longer because it's quite emotionally draining. The first time you do the cycle, the first time you do the first 21 days, there's a good chance that you might be spending 30, even 45 minutes on it. But keep your limit at 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. As you progress through the days, by now you guys have been going for like 12 days. Those of you who've been started at day one, those of you that have just started, you may still be working around the 30 to 45-minute mark because you're still learning things and you're listening, and there's a mini lesson and then there's guided meditation and all that kind of stuff. But once you get into it, sort of halfway through the program, you should find the time starts dropping off to maybe 15 to 20 minutes to 30 minutes. For the first cycle of 21 days, you probably will find that you're in around 30 minutes. The next time you do it with the next thought that you work on, or the next toxic area that you work on, whether it's an unconscious driver or managing an acute stress or managing chronic stresses or diet or exercise or sleep, whatever it is you're working on, you may, the second time around, you'll be quicker. So probably 15 to 20 minutes. I do it now in around about between 5 to 7 minutes. So I'm spending around about a minute to a minute and a bit on each of the steps. But that's because I'm used to this. It won't get less than that. You need to spend at least 7 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. So I'm always around the 5. When I write down, it always gets up to about 7 minutes. And I'm very strict about keeping it in that little time frame. There are some days where I'm really working on something and I find it goes up to the 15 minutes, but I'm so used to it now that it tends to stay around 7 to 15 minutes. So you will get there. So don't panic if it's long in the beginning. You're learning a completely new way of thinking. It's a complete mind opener. You're learning to think about your thinking. You don't just stand back and observe your thinking. Okay, um, so in terms of, is there a web page? Yes, if you go to the website, theswitchapp.com, it does explain what the app is. So there is a web page. You can also find out about it on my webpage, drleaf.com. There aren't any, someone else said that there's no quick fixes. Absolutely not. The minute, you see, we live in a society where people think it's a quick fix. There is no just like catch that thought and fix it and transform it. It takes time. It takes 21 days to build a long-term memory. I've spent years researching memory. Okay, 21 days. It takes 63 days to form a habit, not 21, 63. And that's why you'll see the sequence of the program is very specific. You go through 21 days and then you practice using that new way, new reconceptualized thought. You practice it for consciously and deliberately. You practice it by putting little reminders in the app reminder in the Switch app to remind you to pop up. So the little thing pops up on your screen, and then you practice using that for the next 63 days. That takes you about 7 seconds a day. I have things popping up on my reminder on my phone all the time, and it's the things that I'm working on. And then after the 63 days, then I'll put the new one up. So I've always got, at the end of my 21 days, I'll have a little statement that reminds me of my reconceptualized point. Like last time, a while back, I was working on not saying if only. So on my phone, it would pop up 7 times a day. In the Switch app, it would pop up saying, remember your if only today. So all I did was read it, and then I remembered, and then it would pop up another time. So 7 times during the day for another 42 days, I was reminded about not doing if only. I don't do if onlys hardly ever anymore. I catch myself so quickly. I don't live in if only land, if only I did this and only, which traumatized me because I have reconceptualized and I've automatized. I've built a new habit. But it's not going to happen if you just do it once. It won't happen. It's a process. That's why I say work through the whole process. Don't just jump in and look for a quick fix. Someone asked something that the question's gone by, but it caught my eye about the breathing exercises. The reason I start with that is that those breathing exercises are really scientific. They work around calming down your parasympathetic nervous system, reducing cortisol in your brain, releasing the correct hormones to help you calm down. It just helps center you. So what I want you to do with that, why I start the day with that little meditation thing, which is very scientific, very spiritual, is to get you focused in and prepared for the work that you need to do in the 5 steps. You see, we can't just breathe. We can't just meditate. Meditation, mindfulness meditation, whether you do it with prayer or whatever you do it with, is going to bring you into the moment and calm you down in the moment. What my 5 steps do is that the gather step is pretty much like that meditation step. The other 4 steps build sustainability. They actually change the structure of your brain long term. whole day. These 5 steps, as you learn to live a 5-step lifestyle, will sustain you through the day. And you start with a little breathing exercise, the oxygen, the different counts and the different types of exercises will help to do different things like reduce cortisol, calm down the parasympathetic nervous system, release neurotransmitters. In other words, you're getting your physical brain and body aligned and prepared so that you can have cognitive fluency, that you can think clearly. Okay. Someone says it seems you would not need the app over time. You do need the app over time because there's constantly, as I mentioned earlier on, that this is a 60, each cycle, each thought takes 21 days to break down. So you work on one toxic thought for 21 days, and one toxic thought can have lots of different things associated with it. So it doesn't mean just one thought. It's going to be one basic concept, like maybe working on the distraction for addiction. So you're working on the concept of distraction. That's the main thing. And then it's got all kinds of things associated with it. So it's going to have lots of other sub thoughts, but it's one main thought with its sub thoughts. And you work on that for 21 days. And that will then break down the toxic thought, build the healthy new thought. Then you practice using the new reconceptualized thoughts for another 2 cycles of 21 days. That's that 7 seconds a day popping up on your phone thing. But while you're doing that, you started another cycle of where you're working on another area. And so at by the second cycle, you're working actively on breaking down a new toxic thought, but you're also practicing using the other toxic. You're practicing using the other new thought. When it gets to the third thought that you're working on, you're now working on 3 things. You're working on the new toxic thought, and then you're just reminding yourself about the previous 2 thoughts that you've worked on. And it never gets more than that, because then the one is finished. It's done at 63 days. So it's a lifestyle of you spending your 15 to 30 minutes in the morning actively working on this one thought with its associated thoughts. And then during the course of the day, whatever thought you had worked on last cycle, it's in its 42 days stabilization state, which means you're going to just have these little phrases that are popping up. You don't have to do anything except read them and make sure that you are consciously and deliberately applying that new way of thinking in your life. After another 42 days, which makes 63 days, you then have that stabilized. Okay, so then the reason that you keep the app going for 63 for the whole year is because in 1 year you work on 17 things, 365 divided by 21. So after a year, you've done those 16. And then because this is a lifestyle, the app keeps you doing this all the time. So we recommend you just don't stop doing the app. Also, I keep adding new stuff on. I keep updating the audio. I keep adding new techniques. And so you're always going to be learning new information to help you to be able to do this in so many different ways. So it's not just for dealing with traumas of the past. And this is also for dealing with how do I manage the day-to-day chronic stresses, how do I just keep my head in this busy life that we live? How do I deal with these acute things that happen, like a car accident suddenly happens, or someone gets really sick in your family? Now you've got to still balance your day and do what it is that you do. Plus, you've got to deal with this other stuff. Things like, how do you get your health right? Maybe you're dealing with a massive health issue suddenly. And so this gives you the mind management for that. So it's anything to do with your life. This app teaches you about your mind. Your mind is what controls everything. The decision of what to wear, you used your mind. The decision of how to respond to your text this morning, you used your mind. The decision of how you communicate with people, you're using your mind. The decision of how you drive your car, respond to traffic, buy your food, choose your food, respond at work. Everything is mind. What is mind? How you think and feel and choose. So mind management is managing how you think, feel, and choose about everything from the time you open your eyes till the time you go to sleep. So it also will help you work on sleep. And that's one of the things we're going to be building in, is an app for actually helping you learn how to sleep again, because sleep is such an issue, or sleep more effectively and more deeply. Okay. Let's have a look here. Someone said, this is a good question. What's the difference between feelings and emotions? Okay, so basically they're the same thing, but feelings are how we experience something consciously, and when it's in our non-conscious mind, it's an emotion. So you are 99% of who you are is your mind. Mind is thinking, feeling, choosing. So definition of mind is thinking, feeling, choosing. You're a thinking, feeling, choosing being. You When you think, you feel. When you think and feel, you choose, and you're doing that 24/7. You're always thinking, feeling, and choosing. And it's happening at 400 billion actions per second on the non-conscious level, and at 2,000 actions per second on the conscious level. So what all that means is your mind, this 99% part of you, has got two parts. The biggest part is what we call the non-conscious part, which is the fastest part, which operates 24/7, where all your memories are stored, which pretty much is the you, and all your experiences and all your habits and everything are inside of that, and it's constantly working at huge speed all the time. Your conscious mind, which is the smallest part of the 99%, it's only about 10% of that, is when you're awake. And it's the conscious, deliberate functioning, being online when you're awake. Okay, so basically, what happens is that when you are so when you are every time you experience something, you build a memory, and that memory has information and it has emotions. So when it goes, as you're building it in your conscious mind, and it's a feeling. So there's information and there's feelings. Information and feelings, as you, like right now, you're listening to me, you're building a memory, I'm giving you information, and you are feeling feelings of anticipation or excitement or dread or whatever it is that you're feeling. And then as you build that and it moves down into your unconscious mind after the 63 days, then those emotions, those feelings then become emotions. So in your non-conscious mind, emotions is the word that refers to they're in your non-conscious mind. When they're active, they become feelings. It's the same thing, but one is conscious, one is non-conscious. Okay. We One of the other things that I wanted to talk about when we talk about emotions, I've actually made a note here about this particular concept of emotions. So that was a great question. I'm glad that you prompted me. Emotions create brain states. So an emotion, when you have an emotion, your brain is responding. As you think and feel and choose, your brain is responding. Okay, so your thoughts, thinking, feeling, and choosing passes through your neural bundles. And by using this app, you are developing your mind management. So you're influencing how information moves through the neural bundles of your brain. Emotions also create neurotransmitters. So, for example, among these are things like serotonin and dopamine and endorphins and oxytocin. And then there's a great one that I love to say called anandamide. And each of these is associated with a different type of feeling or emotion. And so, for example, serotonin is associated with satisfaction, dopamine with focus and a sensation of reward, and anandamide with bliss. So when we have emotions, emotions come from the mind, and then as they move through your brain and body, they create a physical response in the form of chemicals. Okay, so we even have, when we get really super excited and we have a really like a breakthrough moment or an aha moment, we get a strong release of anandamide, and that actually almost acts like a psychoactive substance. It actually binds to the same receptors in the brain as THC, which is the psychoactive component in weed. And so you have this natural high that you can go on, which is why we get so excited when we have a breakthrough, and that's very motivating. And when that happens, it gives you encouragement to carry on. So the brain waves that we see in our brain basically are the fields that are expressed by our thinking, feeling, and choosing. So I want to show you a slide quickly to end today. And this is of a clinical trials that I've just run recently. And this is one of the subjects. And all the subjects in the clinical trial I've just run went through using my Switch app. So they didn't see me directly. They didn't have counseling from me or anyone. They basically came into the clinic. They never even saw me. It was what we call a double-blind study. They worked with my research team. They had blood drawn so we could look at where their DHEA and cortisol and various different blood measures. They did a whole bunch of psychological tests, tools that I've developed and so on. Plus, they told us their whole story of their life. Plus, we looked into their brain. We did some neuroscientific stuff as well, and we used what we call a QEEG. And what we were looking to see is the brain state in that moment before they started the 21-day detox, then at the end of the first cycle of 21 days, and then at day 63. And I'm going to show you a slide now of the QEEG. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. I hope you're going to be able to see this. I hope you can see. Let me just angle this a little bit better so that you can see this. I will put the slide up as an image as well. Okay, I'm just going to hold it there. It seems to be not that clear. There we go. Okay, so if you look at these little heads, if you look at the top, you'll see that the top one is at day 1, and then then it goes to day 21 and then day 63. And basically what we're seeing here is that this particular subject in the clinical trial, the blue shows that they were very depressed, very flat, very lethargic, couldn't sleep, weren't processing information, pretty much offline, very unhappy. Going through the app by day 21, the depression had gone, they were sleeping, they were happy, they were back online, they were managing their life. Obviously, there were days where they still felt bad, but they were essentially managing their life. By day 63, the blue is gone, we're seeing a lot more red. So this basically means that they've actually have sustained this pattern. So after 3 months, 9 weeks, their depression hadn't come back, the lethargy hadn't come back, the lack of sleep hadn't come back. They were processing, they were moving forward. So that's evidence for you, and there's so much other evidence, but that's evidence for you that when you use this 21-day detox every day using the 5 steps, you are going to change your brain physiology. You're going to make, and you're going to, doesn't mean that person's not going to have depression again. Depression is something normal that we all experience, but they were so depressed that they couldn't even function. So they had to find the cause of their depression and start working through that and unpacking that and reconceptualizing that in order for them to be able to start seeing the light of day again, to start moving forward and processing and interacting and sleeping. And they did that, and they sustained it after 63 days. So 9 weeks later, and we've just done the fourth evaluation now, which is after another 3 months, and we're getting those results back very soon. But we're seeing this across the board with our patients. When you start mind management, it changes how you function. Let's have a look at these more questions. Okay, and on the app, I do speak much slower. Someone's asked about my accent. Okay, I get super excited on these YouTubes and I do speak fast. And obviously accent is an issue. I speak very slowly on the app, and also you can slow the app down. So you can slow, like anything, you can slow it down. But I do speak very slowly and a very low, sort of a very neutral tone so that it's easy for you to be able to follow. So someone's actually confirmed that. Thank you so much. Candy did confirm that. We don't have closed caption on the video at this stage. We will at some point. We don't do a month-to-month basis. I'm just answering the questions now because the benefit comes in, as you can see from that, the images I showed you, the QEEG images, we need it. The true benefit comes from multiple cycles. The first 21 days is just the first start. You've broken down the toxic thought and you've built a healthy new reconceptualized memory, but you now need to turn that into a habit. Otherwise, it's just going to be stuck in the depths of your brain and you won't use it. So in order for you to experience the true effects of this program, you have to do it for longer than just a month. So we don't do a month-to-month subscription, but as I said in the beginning, $69.99 is nothing for a whole year. Therapy costs between $100 and $500, if not more, dollars an hour. And this is you learning to manage your mind for everything in your life. It is foundational to who you are as a human. Mind is foundational. Your mind's a mess, your whole life's a mess. So this is a very good investment, and it's really not a lot for $69. And there's all the other things that I keep adding as well over time. So let me see. Okay, people are asking about antidepressant. I'm not going to answer that question now. I do have a podcast on that. I would recommend you go subscribe to my podcast and talk about that. But yeah, I'm not keen on antidepressants. They don't basically solve any problem. They're just like an anesthetic. They are like a band-aid. They just suppress. They don't deal with your stuff. You have to find the cause. You can't just change a thought or suppress a thought. You have to face the thought. You have to process. You have to embrace, process, and reconceptualize. Let's have a look if there's any others here. Okay, I think I've covered most of it. Okay, so I'm just having a quick look. Someone's asking me to end with this question: the mind and the brain and the emotions, what's the difference? So very quickly, your mind is the 99% of who you are. The most basic definition of mind is how you think and feel and choose. Mind is how you uniquely think, feel, and choose. That's a quantum state. We use quantum physics to understand this sort of spiritual mind thing. It's 99% of who you are. Your brain and your body, which are collectively made of 75 to 100 trillion cells, are 1% of who you are. Your mind and your brain are interconnected. It's called interactive dualism. They can't work without each other. So the mind moves through the brain, and the brain responds on a quantum, electromagnetic, electrochemical, and genetic level. So as you learn to manage your mind, you're managing your thinking, feeling, and choosing related to all the lifestyle issues of your life, which then enables you to move through life and do what you have to do as a person, whatever your job is, whatever your position is, relationships, work, etc., diet, etc., etc. So when you manage your mind, you're managing your thinking, feeling, and choosing, and you're influencing how your brain structure organizes itself and how your body functions. That's it for today, everyone. I look forward to speaking to you again next week on YouTube Live. Send your questions in, get a group together, jump into this thing. Don't stop, keep going. I'm so proud of you for doing what you have done already. This is going to change your life. Spread the word. When we change our mind, we can change this world. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye, everyone.